Good day, everyone. This is the continuation of recording business transactions, and actually, this is part three. And part three is all about preparation of trial balance. Now, we were already done with journalizing transactions, including analysis and the rules of debits and credits, or simply debit and credit. Then we are also done with posting the transactions to the ledger. And now we are going to proceed to the preparation of trial balance. But prior to that, allow me to go back to our learning objectives. So remember, we've said that at the end of the session, we should be guided as to the learning objectives so that we can check even our progress as we go along the way. So this could be a sort of self-evaluation. So from 1 to 8, or let's check, that's 1 to 7. These are the items involving the journalizing of transactions. Then from 8, so I almost said 8 a while ago because this could be discussed anyway from journalizing transactions, but let's just suppose or assume that because it talks about general ledger for 8, so it's part of posting. Although 9 is really the posting. So from 8 to 11, these are the learning objectives from general ledger. So we can now describe what a general ledger is, what the purpose it serves. We said that a general ledger is basically the summary device for the entries and for the amounts involving the accounts or specific account titles, meaning the changes that happened to them. And then the purpose is for the summary so that we will be able to know the balances, because these balances will be carried forward and they will be utilized in the preparation of the financial statements. And after that is the actual posting process, in which we transfer from the general ledger. Of course, that's going to be for the general ledger, then to the trial balance if we prepare the trial balance. However, if this is like really the posting, so that's from the general journal to the general ledger. So this is for posting entries. And posting is the process of transferring the journal entries, specifically the account titles and respective amounts, from the general journal to the general ledger. Then distinguish between permanent and temporary accounts. If you can recall, we said that permanent accounts are accounts that namely are asset, liabilities, and equity that are found on the statement of financial position and balance sheet. And these accounts are not closed at the end of the accounting period. Therefore, they are also called as the real accounts. Whereas the temporary accounts are the accounts to be closed, namely income and expenses in step 7, preparation of closing entries. And they are income and expenses as well as drawing. Then we also discussed about chart of accounts, which is the list of account titles. So these are the items that we have discussed under posting from steps 8 to 11. Now, for this chapter, formally, we are to discuss the trial balance preparation, again, from the general ledger, the balances from there to the trial balance. And that's why it is called a trial balance, because it will be summarizing. This is now the summarizing phase under the phases of accounting. So again, recording, classifying. Recording is journalizing. Classifying is posting to the ledger. And summarizing is starting from trial balance onwards. All right. Also, this is like clearly part of summarizing. Then the subsequent steps also are part of summarizing. That's what I've said for trial balance. And also we'll have to perform steps in locating and correcting errors. So just in case we commit errors along the way, what steps should have been done? All right. So now let's have the formal discussion involving trial balance preparation or preparation of trial balance. Actually, the main purpose of trial balance is to be able to verify and check if the two sides are equal after the posting process, because it's possible that there were some issues or concerns or errors that are encountered during the posting process. So we have again to verify or authenticate or double check if ever the posting process has been done properly. That's why we normally have an assumption that if the two sides, namely the debit and credit, are equal, so we assume that you are able to perform the previous or prior steps, namely the journalizing of transactions and the posting process. And normally and mostly for the posting process, because that was the prior step or step two. Notice also that this is step four, everyone. However, because we are like lifting from other sources also. So this can be step three or step four. Anyway, here are the steps or procedures in the preparation of a trial balance. So we have to follow the following. List the account titles in numerical order. Well, this is true if ever, let's say we look at the chart of accounts in which there are numbers there or the codes or the 3 digits, for example, for this particular sample or for the discussion, like 110 for cash, 310 for the capital account of the proprietor. So we just have to copy them in order the account titles from, let's say, cash as the start up to the last, provided that they have balances. Otherwise, if the balances would be, for example, just zero for these accounts, they are no longer included in the trial balance. As said, it's balance, so meaning only those items having a balance of greater than zero, so from 1 to infinity. Then second is obtain the account balance of each account from the ledger. That's correct. So the debit or credit balance, we have to be careful though. And also careful about entering the balances in the debit column and credit balances in the credit column. So debit is to debit and credit is to credit. So debit balance of cash should be written down in the trial balance on the debit side. So you can see it here, cash, 22,200. Then we put also, we have to add the debit and credit columns so that we will be able to compare the totals if they are equal. All right, so if you're not equal, meaning to say there were some errors encountered along the way, and we will have to check them or that exhaustively later on. Now, the trial balance is a control device that helps minimize accounting errors. So this goes to say that trial balance will have to check the accuracy of getting the totals of both debit and credit, and also to verify the accuracy of voting such. So this is an interim proof of the accuracy of the records. When you say interim, meaning it's like temporary or preliminary evidence that the records are accurate. However, even if we are balanced, it doesn't mean that we are like did not commit any errors. In fact, we'll know that, for example, if we fail to record a transaction entirely, this will still result to equal balances for the trial balance. Let's say there are 30 transactions that happened in the month, but we only recorded 29. For sure, we are going to get equal balances of both debit and credit for the preparation of trial balance. However, we will realize, example, for this one, failure to record payment of rent, we will know that the rent expense is understated. It depends though, if the payment of rent is like really for that month, so this is an expense immediately. Although it's not stated here like it's prepayment, so we'll just assume this is an expense. So rent expense is understated. Understated is an error, by the way. And actually, allow me to mention that there are two types of errors that we can encounter in accounting, and these are the understatement and overstatement. If we say understatement, it means lacking, while overstatement is that the account title has more value than what it should be. So meaning it is like excessive, in other words. So I hope that explains understatement versus overstatement. And going back, rent expense is lacking understated because we did not record the rent expense, but the cash is to be placed on the credit side, meaning we did not have more deductions or credits to cash, and cash then is overstated, right? So these are the impacts of the said failure. However, for sure, again, the debits and credits would be equal. Now, how do we improve this one though, this presentation? So I will just have to pinpoint the important parts first, and then we are going to improve this presentation. Okay, so we have the title, this particular heading. So name of the company, trial balance, and the date line. So I'm okay with the date line as May 31, 2019. However, for some books, it would be for the period ended. So if that period is a month or a quarter or a semester or a year. So it would be for the month ended May 31, 2019. And we leave a space here. Then we are going to write, for example, just to improve this one, account titles, debit, credit, and then space. So we would appreciate if we can improve or enhance the heading. Okay, so as what I've said, this is going to have here for the month or quarter or semester or year ended May 31, 2019, and then a space, then the heading account titles, debit and credit, of course, to be aligned. Then space, these are now the account titles written. So very good here. You can notice that there is a peso sign at the beginning and at the end. So we do not put peso signs like for every balance. No, it should be written at the first and the last. All right. So hopefully that is crystal clear to all of us then. So we have the peso signs written, and then we are going to write here the total or totals. Write the word here, total or totals, and we get the balances. So we assume now that we are correct because the two sides are equal. What are some things to be reminded about here? Normally, there is like a point of transition. We can notice the order here as assets, from cash to office equipment. After assets, remember, would be liabilities, from notes payable to unearned referral revenues. There is a point of transition by office equipment to notes payable. What do I mean when I said there is a point of transition? This actually means that there is a sort of transfer or a sort of change from debit to credit. So this is the debit, 60,000, and then this is the credit, 210,000. Normally, students would have some concerns at this part because of the said movement. So you have to be careful that, oh, this is the end of assets, and now I'm going forward to liabilities. Then at this point, from notes payable down to capital, these are the credits, having normal balances of credit. And then notice on utilities payable, so unpaid utilities expense, that's a liability, and unearned income is also a liability, while prepaid rent is an asset, which will be discussed more as we go to the next chapter involving adjusting entries, which is like the heart and in which most students like you would have the challenge. So we are excited about that though. Anyhow, let us proceed. There is now another point of transition from capital to withdrawal. So from credit, we go back now to the debit. So this is like one thing also that most learners would miss. So from credit, careful, withdrawals, debit. And then from debit, next would be revenues. We go to the credit. So this is now another point of transition. This is one, from asset to liabilities, then from capital to withdrawals, and withdrawals to revenues. That's the third one. Revenues have normal balances of credit and expenses. So from revenues credit to expenses debit, that's the fourth transition. So be careful for those transitions, guys. Also, we can notice that the account titles are arranged again from assets, liabilities, capital, drawing or withdrawals or personal, income or revenues, and expenses. So we have to be careful about that. As to the arrangement, if this is real life, we can just go back or look at the chart of accounts. All right. Then to continue, what if really we would be getting like the two sides are not equal? So in that case, we don't have to jump immediately to the conclusion that we were erroneous in the posting and in journalizing or recording of transactions or the recognition process. So what do we do is that we have to work backwards and we think of what recent step that we have made. So example, here in the trial balance, normally or usually, of course, we are going to add or put all debit amounts or entries in the debit column, as well as the credit entries in the credit column. So we have to combine or put all of them. And so probably the error that we have committed here is on the adding. It's possible that, for example, when we use our calculators, although we can minimize this by using Excel perhaps, but we will never know if we have inputted the amounts right. So let's say we have written here, let's say 4,400, but when we calculated that, that's, for example, we have written only 440 pesos. So for sure, the debit side would not be equal to the credit side. Again, let's say we have just inputted on the calculator 440 pesos. Now, what if, let's say, after we have reviewed, still we're not balanced? So what do we do? Probably it's because of the figures that are written here or the balances. Probably we have copied wrongly from the ledger or from the day account the balance. So let's say for cash, instead of 22,200, we only wrote 22,000. So it's lacking 200 pesos. Therefore, we would not be balanced on this particular case or situation. And that's the point of doing the review, just in case we're not going to have the correct or desired balances. So for this one, it could be the summary of the errors. Anyhow, let me also continue with this. So let's say, what if, for example, we already reviewed, so we looked at the balances in the T accounts, and then we compared in the trial balance. So we have check cash, it's 22,200, written in trial balance, correct. And still, we did not get the correct or desired balance or the total under trial balances or trial balance. So what do we do then? Next question would be, how did we obtain, how did we get the balances in the T accounts? So remember, we deducted debit and credit. So we cross-footed the totals from debit and credit or debits and credits. So we performed that again. Again, we work backwards. Next, we performed everything and then we have obtained like the same value. So next would be, we are going to do the footing process again. So total all debits and credits on the T accounts. Then what if we performed those steps, still we are able to get the same balances? So we go, once again, we go back one step ahead or backward. Then where did we get the accounts or the amounts in the T accounts? We obtained them from the journal entry. So we now check the posting step. So the amounts and the accounts from the general journal to the general ledger, because it's possible that, let's say it's debit to cash of 220 and then we place that on the credit side, so wrong side, and so on and so forth. So we have to review. And then what if we did not get that or such? So meaning to say, we have to repeat the loop, because like the journalizing of transactions is really the ultimate, it's the first step. So we have to go back once again to trial balance. Then we get the total, we put again, and then from there we compare with the balances in the ledger. We cross-put, we perform the posting process once again until we get or obtain the desired balance. So the key here is work backwards and repeat the process as needed. All right, and then these are the errors which could be mentioned by me a while ago. One is error in posting a transaction to the ledger. This is true. So let's say wrong amount, or the debit is posted on the credit, or vice versa, credit to debit. And then a posting was omitted. Let's say you only posted the debit and not the credit. So for sure, it's going to result to a wrong balance. Next, error in determining the account balances. So the balance was wrongly or incorrectly computed. There were errors in the calculation, or we placed the balance. This is something also that was not mentioned by me a while ago, that a balance was entered in the wrong balance column. Let's say cash should be debit, you place it on the credit, that's going to be wrong. Or revenue is credit, you place it on the debit. Withdrawal should be debit, you place it on the credit, and those things or situations. Number 3, error in preparing the trial balance. One of the columns of the trial balance was incorrectly added. So this is now the footing process. This is what we have like said as the first step to do. Then this one, from the T account, we copied wrongly or incorrectly the balance. So for sure, the trial balance would not be balanced. And then a debit balance was recorded as credit or vice versa, or we omitted entirely the balance. So that will result to a certain trial balance that is out of balance. If the two sides are equal, we'll say the trial balance is in balance or balanced. But if we say out of balance, we mean that the two sides are not equal. All right. Here are the tips from the author or authors, although I've mentioned them once again. What could be the most efficient way? Again, we do the backwards step or direction. I would just pick the important parts from here for you to be guided. One, that's done, footing the trial balances for the respective columns. Second is, for example, on the addition or footing of the amounts, we can commit some errors. It could be transposition or sliding error. If we say transposition, we reverse the order of the numbers. Example here is 21,750, but we recorded as 21,570. If we get the difference, then it's divisible by 9. So that could be a certain clue that probably we committed a transposition error. And where do we get the difference though? We can like compare this from the two, but we may also do this on the trial balance. If the two sides are not equal in terms of the totals, we get the difference of the two. If it is divisible by 9, that's going to be a transposition error. On another hand, if let's say we just like reduced or added a 0, just like this one, 21,750, but it is copied as 2,175, then the difference would also be divisible by 9. So it could also be a case of a sliding error. So both or either transposition or slide error. Now, another case here, it's not one of those errors as discussed. However, it's a case like a debit balance of 42,000 was erroneously listed in the credit side. So for sure, the error as a whole would be times 2. So 84,000 in the trial balance totals, in which the credit would be greater than the debit. So we may scan our columns, meaning the debit and credit balances on the T accounts. We may look at them, and then perhaps we placed wrongly, of course, as said in the situation on the columns. Instead of debit for office equipment, we place it on the credit side. and we look for an amount equal to half of the discrepancy, meaning the difference of 84,000 on the total. So divide by 242,000, and we look at the three accounts as to which balance has 42,000. Okay, so that's what we can do for number 2. Then it's also advisable to look over the transactions for an item of the exact amount of the discrepancy, as said a while ago. Then number 3, for this one, make sure that no account is omitted. Okay, number 4, recompute the balance of each ledger account done. 3 and 4 done. 5, trace all postings from the journal to the ledger accounts. This is also done. All right. Now, note that even when a trial balance is in balance again, it doesn't mean that the records do not contain any errors. So a balanced trial balance simply proves that as recorded, debits equal credits. I like this point. As recorded, meaning if we recorded the transactions as that and we follow the process, then we will be able to get the balanced trial balance. However, certain errors may not be detected and may be detected as we go along the way the process, or perhaps next accounting year that would result to prior period errors as discussed in IAS 8 in conceptual framework and accounting standards. So number 1, failure to record or post a transaction. I think this is entirely. So entirely omitting, whether intentional or unintentional, or posting a transaction entirely. So we will not be able to detect that because the balance of the trial balance or the balances would be still equal to each other or with each other. Second is recording the same transaction more than once. So let's say May 1 transaction we recorded and then we posted twice. Well, in that case, the trial balance would still be equal. Third is recording an entry but with the same erroneous debit and credit amount. So wrong debit and credit, but then recorded it as such. So let's say instead of debiting accounts receivable, crediting income, let's say we debited cash and then we credited capital. So if we like posted and prepared trial balance, still the two sides would be equal. And number 4, posting a part of a transaction correctly as a debit or credit, but to the wrong account. Let's say accounts receivable debit, what we place that on cash for sure because they have the two sides and we have the two accounts on the same side, debit. So both cash and accounts receivable are assets. Normal balances would be debit. So in that case, still the two sides would be equal. And that's it for our last input involving trial balance. So hopefully you learned something from this session. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time for another discussions in this particular series. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.